Hello, and welcome back to the Visibility Corner with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley. Every time I have this show, I have just I'm going to say it like this. I humble myself because just to bring on experts, business owners, people that are working their gift in their life, it is amazing. And one thing I always say is that every individual on this earth, has a special gift in them. And I'm here as a cheerleader. I'm going to say a cheerleader to make sure that you bring that gift to the level so people can see what it is because it's very important. You weren't put on this earth just to be put on here. You're put on for a reason. And that means that you have to be exposed. That means you have to have visibility. People need to know who you are. And it always kind of baffles me a little bit when people are just doing so much in their world and they're like, Barbara, I'm helping these people doing this. And I'm like, but I don't see you out there. I haven't heard about this. It's kind of that little kept secret. You don't want to be that secret because like you just said, like I said, what they told me, they're helping people. So we want to help people. And that's what it's all about. So with that said, I come on with this show first to bring you visibility of people that are out there doing what they're doing so you can understand what they do. And second, just to give you some little itty bitty tips about or teachable moments on how you can learn how to bring your visibility to another level in these lanes. Because like I said, I bring on different business owners because it might be a lane that you're in the same lane they're in, and they might be rocking and rolling with what they're doing for the visibility. And you might be saying, oh, I'm glad I heard her, or I'm glad I heard him. Maybe I can use something like that. I can get on that. So that's what it's about. It's just not me, a talking head, or the other person talking, but it's making sure too that you're gaining something from the show. So with that said, I won't take any much longer. I want to bring on, and when I bring on the women, if you've been watching this show, all women to me are queens. Yes, they got that crown on their head, and sometimes we have to straighten each other's crown out because we want to make sure, like I said, being royalty is important, is important in life. So this wonderful, amazing person, Chantal Cox, she is a MindValley Certified Business Coach and seasoned Transformation NeuroCoach. She empowers ambitious females coaches with the tools they need to thrive. With a background as a special educator, a best-time selling author, and a globally ranked top 3 podcaster. Okay, come on now. Yes, I'm telling you, she's a queen. Chantal guides clients to creating impact, freedom-filled lives that align with their talents and their values. Now, I don't want to get in more deeper in that because I want to get a chance so you can hear her voice and know her through building that relationship through the screen here. But I can just say for her being a podcaster, for her being a best time selling author, she's 3% podcaster. Come on now. Come on. I know she's a speaker and everything else. She's not even a triple threat. She's like a dipple threat. So, but before I bring this queen on, I got to make sure I do it right. I can't just land her on the page. I got to make sure she's brought in royalty. So with that, we'll be right back after this particular important message. Hello, and welcome, Queen. Beautiful Queen. How are you doing, lady?
I'm good. That little slideshow was so fun. I was like, oh, you did your homework. Look at those pictures.
And there was so many to choose from, Queen. I was like, I don't know which one to choose. I can't just have a whole collage for a whole hour. So I took some snippets and I'll say, okay, I can use them later on when we do another show. See, already I'm welcome you back.
Ooh, I love it.
Yes. So, lady, first of all, like I said, I humble myself all the time, thanking you for being on a Visibility Corner with me and really understanding about how it is. First of all, like you said, you empower women to align in their genius. and for them to be out there too. You do it in a different way, but it's still the same thing. We're all in the same boat of doing that. So before we kind of get into that talk and talk about some AI stuff, which I'm really interested in hearing you about some of that, because that's kind of the hot topic of the world. But how did you start off by saying, I want to be this certified coach? I just want to just help women in general.
Yeah, I definitely did not start there. I I'm a born educator. I knew since 5 I wanted to be a teacher. I knew in 6th grade I wanted to go into special education, and I was in my 6th year of teaching when I had gotten myself out of an abusive marriage, had had a personal transformation, had learned all these lessons, and had gone down this rabbit hole of personal transformation and that whole self-help and personal development for the first time ever. And people around me that had known me pre-marriage, pre-divorce, post-divorce are like looking at me and being like, who are you? Like, you just have so much joy and light and you love life and you're jumping out of airplanes and you're traveling and on this like bachata dance team, and what is that even? And like, how did you do this and how can I get some of that? And so as my teacher self made little worksheets and lessons and was like just sharing them with friends, and as they were implementing some of the things that I had done and they were starting to see results and coming back and being like, tell me more, what else can I do? And it just kind of sparked finally that I was like, oh my gosh, this terrible period of my life that I went through, I could use this for good. And so that inspired me to start a YouTube channel, which I didn't love. So I asked myself, what I have a message, I have a calling. What's natural? What feels good? What have I loved to do since a kid? And it was writing. And so I wrote a book. And as I was doing book signings, which you had some of the pictures from, people were asking to hire me as their coach. And I just looked at them like they had three heads. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a teacher. Like, you can hire me to tutor your kid, but I can't coach. But I was actually in my 2nd year in a role called an instructional coach. So I was paid as a full-time instructional coach, going into multiple districts, multiple buildings, coaching educators all day, every day. And I loved it and I was good at it. And I couldn't see it. We all need those like outside people in our world to be like, you hear what you're saying, right? Like, what does your name tag say? Because you are a teacher, but what does your name tag say? And I'm like, oh, instructional coach, crud. Like, okay, let me rethink this. So then I started looking for, how does one become a coach outside of schools? And what does that entail? What does that look like? And I stumbled upon Dr. Shannon Irvin was a guest on a podcast. I think it was Hal Elrod, maybe. She was on lots of them that I was listening to back then, Pat Flynn and all those, that little gang there. And she was talking about how she went and got her doctorate in neuropsychology and figured out how to rewire her brain and wanted to get that message to the world. And so I developed a neurocoaching certification to teach people how to use it as a coaching methodology. And so there were lots of things about that appealed. And so I went and sought out my master certification in neurocoaching. And then just recently, that was back in like 2020, like 2 weeks ago in 2023, just graduated from MindValley Certified Business Coach program. So that was phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
Anything related to MindValley is just like
I know. That's why I was like, that's mind blowing right there that you're a certified business coach in that area. Wow. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off because everything you were saying was just so amazing. And I just wanted to say, and it seemed like I always find this out with all the people that I bring on, is when I ask about, okay, just let's unfold a little bit. How did you get to this point? And it's either through some kind of situation that was really terrible, or it was like somebody or a lot of people kept saying, but you're this, can't you see that? And you're like, no, I really can't. And then all of a sudden it just kind of plops in and like, bing, like the light bulb happens in your head. Or, it's just something that you just really love to do since you were like knee high, like you said. So it's really amazing how we fall into our purpose of our lives. and then really find, like you just said, creating that life you love. I love that saying. That is, yeah, that's right on target with that, with your book. So you've done that. I mean, and I love how you transformed yourself and say, you know what, enough is enough. See, a lot of times we have to get in our head, enough is enough. Like you said, I know you've been in an abusive, relationship before. I have too. So believe me, I'm in the same boat. I totally get that. And you brought yourself out of that, and then you transfer yourself with your own self, saying, "Wait a minute, this is not who I'm really supposed to be. I'm supposed to be, another type of person than not just what I've been doing." And you decided not to just stay. You said, "No, I'm going to explore this, and I'm going to own who I am, and I'm going to be proud of it and respectful of it, and people are going to respect me, right?" So I have to give you so much love for that, because it takes a choice to do that, and then after that, courage, because not everybody's going to be on your same plane. But see, I always tell people, those are the people that shouldn't be around anyway.
Right.
If they're the ones that are going to be like, "Well, you should do this, Chantal or Barbara, why are you doing this? I don't understand." Well, you know what, it's not for you to understand. And then maybe we love you from afar, I always tell people, but I got to do me, and you're doing yourself. So I'm loving that. And then you became from an educator to a coach. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, helping out
Yeah.
other people.
I still am a full-time employed educator, but I'm based from home, and I am in a grant-funded program under the Kansas State Department of Education, where I get to train and coach instructional coaches across my state. And it's like, I didn't even know a job like this existed. And so at one point, my vision was very much like, oh, go full time in my business. That's what everybody talks about. Build this 6-figure business. But life brought me this other amazing opportunity that is perfect for the season I'm in right now. I don't know what future seasons hold, but yeah, very, very blessed.
You never know. Now, one thing, just going back to, when you were talking about how you change your own life. And I know a lot of times it seems like us as coaches or consultants or educators, there's something that we went through, like that transformation. And then once we get through it to a certain point, then we want to reach back and help others. I mean, that's something that I like to do. I was a very shy person. I was bullied and stuff like that. And once I got out of that part and transfer my transformation, I was like, I don't want to leave anybody behind. It was like, I don't want them to feel like I went through. And if they're going through it, I want to bring them out of it. So I feel like for you, you're talking about how you deal with individuals with their mindset and behavior. Can you give us a little more information regarding how you do that with them?
Yeah. So the neurocoaching method, if anybody's familiar with like cognitive behavior therapy and just kind of how our brains work, it's just using that in a very structured method. And so I am listening during a coaching session for the words you're saying and the stories you're telling yourself that are so true to you. And it takes an outsider sometimes looking in to just ask that question. Like in my example earlier, where I'm like, I'm not a coach, I'm a teacher. And a friend who's a social worker, not a coach, but is an amazing instructional coach and could do what I'm doing times 100 if she wanted to. But she's the one who kind of looked at me and said, mm-hmm. And what's your name tag say? Like helping. And then it was up to me to rewrite my story. But that's part of my coaching methodology, is hearing it, bringing it into your attention and letting you decide what you want to do with it, and then giving you the tools and guiding you down the path to rewire your neural networks, basically rewrite your story.
Yes. I love that. And I kind of I know I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but I take mindset to another word to it. I always say mindset and mind flow. Because I tell people, I said, mindset, sometimes you can be set in that mindset and don't get out of what you need to get out of. You're in that box, I feel like, right? But if you mind flow and you let yourself flow out of there and experience different things, to me, that's even more powerful. And I see that you do that with people. And I'm loving how you listen. Have you noticed when you listen to people and they're talking, they're just talking, and the back of your mind, you're like, okay, they're not really saying what they really need to say. I can kind of figure out they need to dig a little bit deeper there. They're still talking about the surface, right? And there's something deeper in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I always, just a prime example for me. I'll use me as a guinea pig for you. I'll say in a heartbeat, I can't stand sales. I
Yeah,
don't like
that's a
sales.
story.
I don't like sales. So you're hearing that from me. You're like, okay, there's a story behind that, Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story.
Yeah.
And the real one of the stories is, well, part of it is when I used to go get, like buy a car, and those salespeople, I can't stand it. In fact, I run away from when I'm at the sales dealership. I'm like, stay away from me. Don't talk to me. You're to me, you're shyster. You're just kind of, trying. So, that just kind of ended me a little bit with sales. And then I feel like I don't know how to approach people. I don't want to sound salesy.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's something that, you was coming in as my coach, and saying, okay, let's go a little bit deeper. And then besides just saying you don't like it, have somebody say, well, I hate that. Well, it's more than just you hate something. It's a little bit more than that. Yeah. So you get to see that with your clients. Now, one thing that I know I want to discuss a little bit is you're a co-founder of AI Coach Connections. Huge topic for the world right now.
Yes.
I hear good things. I hear bad things. I hear opinions like, oh my God, this is wonderful, this sliced bread, and da 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 da, I can help. And I hear people like, oh my God, it's going to take our jobs. It's going to take over. We're not going to have we're not going to be in this world to even live now. I'm into extremes, right? So
yeah.
I want to hear your take on this because I'm really curious, because it is back two sides of it.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it goes back to the stories, our belief systems, and our subconscious beliefs are what, in our experiences, our brains are designed to keep us safe. And so we've all seen the movies where technology and robots take over the world. And we've thought those things, and we hear those things being, on social media and on actual news. Sorry. But yeah, it's a common topic.
Yeah.
And so for me, I encourage people to kind of step back, take a breath, and make their own decisions and figure out what feels aligned for them, and what makes sense. Like, we all have a vision and a purpose and a goal. So where does AI fit with that? So I work with coaches now. That's my ideal client. I was working with kind of like purpose-driven women that were coming out of a abusive marriage, and now so many coaches wanted to. I love working with coaches, so I just kind of pivoted to now I work with purpose-driven coaches, and so many of them let's not throw out what you were already doing and the path you're already going on. Let's look at the path you're on. Let's pair it with some tools so that you can increase your efficiency, your impact, and your income, so you can make a bigger impact. So many of us coaches get in the burnout cycle, and we're just constantly on this hamster wheel, and AI provides so many opportunities for us to delegate some of that stuff without hiring someone to do it for us and going into debt. And it allows us the space so that we can continue growing and not just get stuck in the hamster wheel and constantly doing, but never moving anywhere.
Yes. Yeah, I like how, because I'm just going to go some good talk that you want to talk about leveraging AI to supercharge your personal brand and visibility.
Yeah.
So that supercharge. So how would you go by doing that if a person is like, I don't want to use it, it's going to take me over. I know for myself, just before you mentioned, you talk about that, whenever I started AI, maybe 6 months ago, and I'm telling you, it has really helped me tremendously in a lot of areas that I needed help in. And like you just stated, Queen, it takes up some of it. It gives me more time to really work on my genius, because there's some things that I can just put AI and put stuff in there, and it just puts it out there for me. And I'm like, okay, this would have probably took me 3 hours. It took AI 2 seconds, but still honing in on my personality, honing in on my personal brand. So I want you to bring that up, because I think people, when they get all antsy about it, there's a way to do it without taking you over, like you said.
Oh, absolutely. So my first introduction was hadn't even really heard of this Chat GPT thing. And I was on one of my biweekly masterminds with some other NeuroCoach alumni from my cohort. And one gal was talking about it, and I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed, and I've got to rewrite this whole sales page, and we're rebranding, and I need a new ideal client avatar, and I need this, and I need this. And so she explained to me a couple things she did, and I got off the call at 8 p.m. my time. I stayed up way too late. I'm pretty like I need my sleep, but that night I was up till midnight, and I knocked out my list that I'd been procrastinating and like being like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, and I excitedly co-created it in a few hours, in way better than I could have ever done on my own, with zero experience or training or anything on ChatGPT. Just opened it. It was free. It has a very good free version, and just started having a conversation with it. And I'm like, hey, I've never used you before. I'm a coach. Here's some things I need to do. Could you help me with that? And it's like, absolutely, I'd love to. And I'm like, oh, you're kind of fun. Okay. And like I just went back and forth. I asked questions. It gave me answers. And I'd be like, that doesn't quite capture like my ideal client. Like, tell me, like, here's some more information about me here. So I rewrote like my bio, my ideal client avatar, and my elevator pitch. And those are super foundational things for coaches that we get in our own heads, and we're like, is it right? And then one person is like, oh, that word doesn't flow with me. And then you like, oh, now I got to start all over because this one person who's not even my ideal client didn't like that one word. And so it, for whatever reason, like when it was my words, my thoughts, my personality into ChatGPT and then regurgitated back to me, but like wordsmithed. And then I was like, that is the best elevator pitch ever, and nobody can tell me otherwise. It was that external validation for free.
I know. I love it. I love it. You said everything you said, Queen. I did the same thing. I was like, yay. This tool took me for days. And it has some bios that I worked on. It's like, really, Barbara? Why? I mean, I even asked myself, okay, this is taking too long to get this done. And it's taking up time with everything else I'm supposed to be doing. So everything's piling up in your head, piling up, with your clients. You're like, okay, I'm just trying to get this Bible together. But yeah, definitely. And thank you for walking through that, because a lot of people, that's why I'm glad you explained that. And I feel like if people, like I said, the awareness and communication is key. And I tell people, if you hear robots and AI and then you go crazy, it's like, okay, listen to, it's expert here and myself of how you can use that to uplift and to just increase your own branding. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, you've done it. Yeah.
And, I mean, you want to be smart, but I wasn't giving it any information. I wasn't blasting all over social media through my bios and posts and on my website and everything. Everything I gave it was Googleable anyway, and I was sharing a free will everywhere else. So, I mean, do use some caution. Don't like give it your address or your social security number, your credit card number, secure confidential things. Just use some common sense there. But
yeah. Now, the other thing I know you mentioned is AI powered lead conversion master.
yes.
Give us I want to hear that.
Yeah. So I started doing ChatGPT little workshops, and some people came to it, and then they were like, oh, I'm kind of doing the same thing. So we all kind of gave each other seats in our workshops for free so we could see what other people were doing. And we all had very similar visions. And so instead of kind of like competing, like we combined, like we now have a formal LLC, like it's official. I know. So it's AI Coach Connection is our company, and we started a free community, and we give monthly free trainings, and it's just a international community of coaches interested in learning about using and learning and leveraging AI responsibly and in aligned ways. And so that's been a lot of fun. And then so we come up with ideas, and we now launched a 14-day challenge where we're using AI to help coaches build an automated workflow where we've made like prompt templates, and you put in your information and it sends it to ChatGPT. And then when a lead like downloads your freebie or your lead magnet or whatever, somehow enters into your world, you capture their phone number, and it starts ChatGPT and them start texting back and forth. And ChatGPT's main objective is to get them booked on your calendar. So that's all happening behind the scenes while you're doing yoga and napping and getting facials and serving current clients and dreaming out your big vision. And then you open your calendar and you're like, oh, I set aside these chunks of time this week for clarity calls or discovery calls, whatever you're calling them. And how many times have you opened it and you're like, well, I set aside this time for that, but nobody booked. So now what do? I guess I'll keep on the hamster wheel and hope for better luck next week.
Yeah, that hamster wheel. I know about that. Wow. I didn't know you can do it.
Yeah.
So Queen, just to clarify, so you're saying that you can set up where ChatGPT is answering your, wow, I didn't know that. Is it through a CRM, that's a special CRM or something? Or
yes. So we launched a CRM on steroids. It's an all-in-one, because a huge problem that I've had in my business and that I'm seeing from lots of other coaches, and I just want to help coaches not go through the stuff I went through. Like, let's get those barriers out of the way. But I'm paying $20 over here for MailChimp and $20 over here for Calendly and $20 over here for Hootsuite or whatever. And like, there's all these things, and I've got my website over here, and then I've got to pay Zapier, whatever, to get them connected. And then that's not working, and I've got to figure it out. I'm not a tech person. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty techie, but I don't want to, that's not how I want to spend my time figuring out where the Zap broke. Yeah. So you're inefficient with your time. You're inefficient with your money. You're racking up debt. You're not bringing in income because you're doing all this behind the scenes work that's not getting you your brand and your visibility. And it's BS. Like, it's stupid. I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way it's been. And so we've partnered with a company called Go High Level and now we've got branded our own CRM, but it's an all-in-one platform where, like, I've canceled Calendly and my calendars are on Coach Connector, and I've canceled later. That was scheduling my social media. I do that from Coach Connector. Like, I do everything through Coach Connector and save thousands of dollars, thousands of hours, and it just makes sense. So yeah.
Oh, we definitely got to connect after this. I got to get information. You're a lifesaver. Now you're like the fairy queen godmother right now, because that is needed for every business. I'm telling you, would you just explain, Queen? Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm like, oh my God. I said, why do I have all these different accounts, paying all the extra money for each one? Yeah. I said, there has to be a way everything can just come together. Have to be, And you just said it. You just gave the special sauce.
Yeah. So it's been a ton of fun learning that and building that and sharing that. And then we created our own workflow that people can try out and see if they like it. But then the beauty of it is it's like a 14-day free trial, but then their prompts are on a Google Doc. That's their copy that nobody else can touch or see or delete or hide. And they could take it to another some type of chat bot if they wanted to. And they've got kind of a format and prompts. So we're not like, now you're stuck on our CRM. Ha ha ha. Like, no, we've taught you some tools. We've given you some skills. We've opened your eyes at some of the possibilities out there. We would love to keep supporting you and do even more. However, there are other tools out there that do what we do if they're more aligned. So.
Well, lady, wow. Yeah, that's why, see, at the beginning of this interview, I said, I put out there, I'm going to have to bring you back. Well, yes. if I can have you back again,
100%.
I would love you to come on. Yes, you have a lot of good things that I'm talking about as far as the visibility, the AI thing. That whole thing could be a whole 30 minutes with you and you talking about that. I mean, and then you have the tools and everything. So yes, definitely we will have to reschedule you on the show. But before we close, I want to make sure anything else that you want to leave the audience. I'm going to take myself down for 30 seconds and then I want you to leave anything. And I'll make sure I put your information at the bottom while you're talking to us. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Barbara. So, wherever you're at in your journey, you have a calling, you know what it is that you want to do, you know who it is you want to impact, and you're in your own way. So, I'm saying that with love, and I'm encouraging you to do it anyway. Do it scared, do it imperfectly. And done is better than perfect, is what my book coach always told me. Like, I'd still be editing and re editing a book, and nobody would have seen it. And now, I don't know how many thousands of copies have been sold that have had the opportunity to impact lives, because done is better than perfect. And so just get it out there, get yourself and your magic out there, and create a life that you love and help others do the same.
I can listen to you for a long time, Queen. I love it, love it. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the Visibility Corner. Everybody, please, you see, this is why I like having these queens on to talk about what they do, so then you can get just a little snippet of what they do for the world, what they do for people, what they do for business people, what they do for women, men, whatever that their genre is, that their work, who they're working with. So you can say to yourself, okay, yeah, I got to know that queen. Now I need to contact her. With that, I put her website down there. So please go there to, I think I know it's your website. They can reach you and connect with you. Again, we will be, like I said, talking to bring you back on. But as I always tell people, that whatever you're doing, and just like this queen was saying and how she started, and now her gift is shining among the world. I always tell people, have that gift shine, because each and every one of you are a lighthouse to the world. So with that said, we'll see you on the next Visibility Corner with myself, Barbara J. Beckley, and another wonderful guest talking about visibility. Remember, they can't see you. They don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. Then you can't be that lighthouse. With that said, see everybody next time. Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.